Hello. More healing today. It's good. It's good. But feelings of sadness, regret, how do I say it? I felt as if I was coming to the end of a life where I had done really important healing work in myself and for humanity. But my life was filled with inspired projects that never went anywhere, filled with imagined dreams that never happened, filled with so much creativity that never seemed to go anywhere. I have so many writings, books, stories that I began and never finished. So many creative projects, some of which reached a certain finished stage, but never got to be shared with anyone. And even a book that I self-published, but that I just never promoted. So there were a few people who read it. I'm not sure what they thought of it. It was kind of strange and out there. I didn't know how little the world was ready for it. And I guess I didn't find the part of the world that was ready for it. And I knew that when I did my writing and created certain projects, I was really just doing it for me. I was just doing it because it was joyful and exciting and wonderful to be doing it. But my ego, my small self, was not ready to be seen by the world, by other people. I still felt so protective of everything I wrote, so vulnerable, because it was me. It was just me. And from the information that I had gotten so far in my life, from the feedback I had gotten from other people around me, nobody else really seemed to get me. No one seemed to get the things I like to write. I created music. I wrote a whole cantata, 4-part vocal cantata of the entire book of the Song of Solomon from the Bible. And it took me about 30 years to do so. And I made a few efforts to see if anyone was interested in performing it or producing it, but I got no response back. And I always gave up so easily. I just didn't have it in me to promote the things that I had done. I wasn't sure how good they were, and I was always working all by myself because I never met anybody that I felt I could work with. I was always a loner. I remember when I was in school, if I was part of a group that had to produce something, I would just pretty much do it all. I didn't like to work with other people. I didn't trust them. So I always just wanted to do things by myself. And that's what I did. I trusted myself, but I didn't trust anybody else. And of course, I had certain capabilities. I was good at certain things, but not good at other stuff. And I was no good at promoting the things that I made, if I did happen to get them to a point of being ready to be promoted. And all these unfinished things, like, I just accepted that they were unfinished because I always worked according to my inspiration. If the inspiration was there, I worked on it. If the inspiration wasn't there, I didn't. So I would get inspired to write things or make things, and I would do it as long as I felt inspired. But usually I'd reach a point where the inspiration would just go away, and I wouldn't know what came next, and so I would just set it aside. And this is the way it was, and I was okay with that. I wasn't going to force anything that didn't want to happen yet. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I feel like I'm going through a life review right now, and I'm looking back at my life, and as I say, I've often forgotten so much of what I did in the past. And then it comes back to me and I'm surprised, oh yeah, I did that. Because sometimes when I'm in this state of amnesia, I feel like I haven't done anything at all. And then I remember that I've actually done a whole lot. I've actually produced a whole lot. I've actually created a whole lot. But everything always reached a certain point where it stopped. And I just accepted that because there didn't seem to be anything else to do. I couldn't force myself to make anything happen that didn't want to happen. And I couldn't force myself to be different than what I was, to be good at marketing or promoting or going out into the world and making connections. None of that was my thing. And a lot of my writing really was just self-serving. I loved doing it. It spoke to me. I got me. I understood me, and I loved what I saw. I loved what I wrote. And I loved developing my writing skills and abilities. I just did it all in secret. I did it all in private. I wrote a lot of poetry. And there were times here and there where I shared a poem at a family gathering or a writing with someone in my family. But I think my dream, of being a writer, in fact, I remember writing a poem about this, that I wanted an audience. I wanted people to read what I wrote and to be touched by it and to get something out of it. In fact, I want to go find that poem. I don't trust myself to remember it, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I found my little book. I've had this book since the 80s, 1980s. It was a blank book called Meditations for the Moment, and I put my poetry in it. This poem is called Ambition. I wrote it in 1982. It says, I want to write like the gales which strike at the trees, and declare using truth's forceful lung, to sing gentle breezes with eloquent pleas, and appeal to all the unsung. For the tree must give way to the will of the wind, and the shoes achieve flight from the dancer. The words of the poet abide solitaire, till they find in their reader an answer. And most of my poetry and my stories and my music never found in their reader or their listener an answer. And that's what I'm feeling sad about today. I'm feeling sad about that, even though I knew that it couldn't happen yet. I knew that I wasn't ready to be known publicly in any way. I knew I wasn't ready to handle that. Wasn't ready to handle the energy of other people that would come to my writings or my creations. Actually, there was a brief time when I was posting some of my short stories on a website, and I got a lot of really beautiful feedback there. People did respond to the things I wrote and said some really wonderful things about it and seemed to recognize my talent. I had forgotten about that as well. But I was feeling sad today. That part of me that wants to connect to other people through my writings, through the things that are the most me, feels lonely because she hasn't gotten to do that. But I feel like I see hope, a new possibility, that maybe all these things that are unfinished, that maybe this isn't the end of the story. It's no wonder that I reached this place in my life where I felt like there was just nothing more. Because everything that was important to me, that mattered to me, that inspired me, had reached a dead end. So what else was there? If I couldn't have those things, then there wasn't anything I wanted anymore. And that's the place that I've been in for the last year or so, or even longer. This place of, well, if I'm not meant to do all these things I thought I was meant to do, then I guess there's nothing I'm meant to do. I don't know what else. If not this, what? So I was just aware of that today. Aware that I had just accepted that maybe this was all I got for this lifetime. That this lifetime was going to end, and that I was just going to take all these unfinished things with me, and maybe I'd get to finish them in heaven, or maybe there would be a someday that they could be read and appreciated by other people. But it wasn't going to be here. It wasn't going to be in this lifetime. But with this renewed sense that I and the earth and all humanity are getting ready to be birthed, reborn into a new reality, I feel hopeful now. Maybe all these things that were unfinished can get finished. Maybe all the dreams I had that never came true and that I concluded weren't possible. What if those dreams can come true? They're coming back to me. They're coming back to me. And I know that they're impossible without the help of higher dimensions. I have a dream that's utterly impossible in my present condition and the present state of my life. But the truth is, I'm changing. My condition is changing. My life is changing. And the world is changing. And I'm beginning to believe that this dream is going to become possible in my life. And I'm getting excited about it. But right now, I'm just holding space for it. See that shaking? That's energy flowing through my hands and body. I'm happy that new energy is flowing through me right now, rejuvenating my body, restoring me to what I was always meant to be, taking me to what I was always meant to become. And it's beautiful. And I'm happy because I'm feeling that all my dreams that were dashed, that were changed, that were aborted, can still come true. Not just can, will.